Recording in progress.
Welcome to our Weber County Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of July. It's 2 o'clock. We have a full board of commissioners with Commissioner Sharon Bolos to my right, Commissioner Gage Brewer to my left. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. We'll ask Brother Marty Smith, not really my brother, but I'm going to call him that today. If you'll stand and lead us in the pledge, and then our invocation will be given by Jason Horn. Our thought of the day will be given by Commissioner Gage Brewer. We'll go to that point. Marty?
Rise and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we come before thee at this time and give you thanks for the favorable circumstances in which we have to meet. We're grateful that we're able to meet in this commission meeting and to make decisions that will impact and hopefully benefit the citizens of this wonderful county. We're thankful for this county, we're thankful for this area and for the blessings that we have received here. We ask thee to watch over and bless the commission at this time with thy Spirit as they make decisions. We also ask thee to bless the citizens of this county. We ask a special blessing to be with Deputy Chatelain at this time, that he might make a speedy and healthy recovery. We're grateful for our local law enforcement and pray that thy blessings will be with them, as well as the service women and men that defend this country. We're thankful for the freedoms that we enjoy and for all that we have, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, Commissioners, I know that you're wondering why I might be wearing a cowboy hat. Since typically I don't wear one, except for this time of year. Well, maybe in December sometime, but I think this is an appropriate time to talk a little bit about our pioneer heritage here in Ogden, Utah, as this week starts the Pioneer Days celebration. And actually this year is our 90th year, started in 1934, under the direction of one of our famous mayors, Harmon Peary, who still has his family in this area, by the way, somewhat tied to a little outfit called Rainbow Gardens in that area. We know the King family, the Peary. He was quite a mayor, from what I understand. It was before my time, but I've heard some reports. But Harm went out of his way because obviously Salt Lake was kind of the up-and-coming celebration for the pioneers when the pioneers entered the valley in 1847. Harm looked at it like, let's honor the pioneers, but let's also look at the heritage of Ogden, Utah. Ogden was going through some tough times back then, just coming out of the Depression. And he thought, how can we put Ogden on the map? What can we do? We had a lot of cattle ranchers at that point in time. Agricultural railroad, is you very much are aware of. So he kind of capitalized that, and he invited a couple of people. He invited Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who happened to be president at that point in time, and he invited Abbott and Costello, which is before your time, but they were a couple of comedians. Roosevelt never did show up, by the way, but Abbott and Costello did show up. But this is just an opportune time to realize how fortunate we are in Ogden, as we are across the Wasatch Front, Utah, to celebrate our, really what I call our outstanding pioneer heritage that we wouldn't have today. And I've said this before, we wouldn't have today what we have if it wasn't for those that came before us. So unfortunately, I will miss the parade next week, but I know that you two are going to be well representing the county of Weber, and just be careful on those scooters. We don't want to have any injuries at that point in time. So anyway, great time to celebrate. Some people call this Cowboy Christmas. Cowboy Christmas actually comes about from the cowboys that come in to the PRC rodeos because they can do Ogden, they can do Salt Lake, they can do Cheyenne, And that's the Cowboy Christmas, not the Cowboy Christmas that you see at the NFR. Yeah, that's where it came from. All right, that's my thought, Mr. Chair.
It's a great thought. Thank you so much for enlightening us and you know, I know that Abbott and Costello weren't the only comedians in Weber County.
Oh, they weren't, there was a few more.
We've had a couple here at the dais, actually, but maybe not as good as them.
No.
Okay, great. With commissioners, with your permission, I'm going to move ahead to item number E. Those are public comments, items related to this agenda. The public is welcome to come forward at this time and present those to this commission, if you'd limit those comments to 3 minutes. Hearing none, I'll go to online. Is there any online, Stacy? Then we'll move to item our F on our agenda, commissioners, which are the consent items. Consent items are as follows. It's a request for approval of warrants 102, 472, 485, 281, and 367 in the amount undetermined, if you'll let us know that, Mr. Horn. Oh, it's right here. You just did the text right there. $2,250,942.14. Thank you, commissioners. Got it right there. Thank you, Stacy. Yep.
Looks like it's warrants 102, 472 to 102, 517.
102, 472 to 102, 517.
And 485, 281 to 485, 430.
485, 281 to 485, 430.
And then 368, 369.
367, 368, and 369.
Just 368.
368 and 369 only.
Probably wait for that information.
Thank you. Very good. I'll move on to item number 2, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $78,221.47. Item 3 is a summary of the warrants and purchase orders, and item 4 is a request for approval of the ACH Payments to Zion Bank in the amount of $275,026.50. We have Jason Horn available. If you'd lead us and give us a description of those, Mr. Horn. Thank you.
Yes, I will, in that order. We'll start with the warrants. There were 198 for $2.3 million. 30% of that, or $681,000, is the transfer station for disposal fees. 12%, or $278,000, is Powder Mountain Water and Sewer District improvements through ARPA funds. 10%, or $225,000, is the ice sheet with HVAC units for the rink. 10%, or $218,000, is escrow release for Lilac Estates, and Taylor Landing. 7% is $156,000 for the jail, mental health services, food, and utilities. And 5%, or $117,000, is for the library. That is for vehicles, computer equipment, books, and materials. As far as the purchase orders are concerned, there's 8 purchase orders for $78,000. 25%, or $20K, is the library for a chiller at the main library and some adult literacy material. 22%, or $17,000, is the transfer station for parts fees for the Department of Environmental Quality. 22%, or $17,000, is for the conference center, a kitchen remodel. And then 15%, or $11,000, is for the health department, and that's for vaccines. Any questions?
Commissioners, questions for Mr. Horn?
None for me.
Hearing none, I'll move on to item 5, which is a request for approval of the new business licenses. Item 6 is a request for Weber County Tax Review Committee for approval to refund $791.32 to Eric Ryan and Heidi Miller, parcel 16, 203, and 9. Item 7 is a request for approval of a settlement agreement by between Weber County and Kroger in the opioid litigation case. And then item 8 is a request for contracts by between Weber County and many of those people who are in AIDA, which opens here next week. Fantastic production, but if you'd see item F like Foxtrot, 8, and all those listed, which are nearly a full page of them. Any questions on those?
I just have one clarification on item 5 on our paper copy. It's a new business license, the online copy of the agenda, which I think is the amended agenda, correct? Doesn't have any business licenses?
I've got all 3 the same here.
Looks like on a revised agenda that added a link from Shelley that the new business license did fall off the consent item.
So the new agenda has item 5 as the approval for the refund to Eric Ryan and Heidi Miller. I'm showing just items 1 through 7, is that correct?
That's what shows up at the end on the updated agenda, correct?
Okay. So there's no business license?
There is no, so we'll just renumber those, showing no business licenses to be signed on the consent items F1 through and including 7, omitting 5, which I read as business licenses. With that, is there a motion?
Motion to approve consent items F1 through 7.
Second?
We have a motion to approve the consent items. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioners, going on to G on our agenda, which are the action items, it's a request for approval of a resolution of the County Commissioners of Weber County appointing members to the Western Weber Planning Commission. Our presentation by the incredibly capable Rick Grover. Mr. Grover, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have 2 vacancies on the Western Weber Planning Commission. Names that we have for you to consider is Jed McCormick and Sarah Wickren.
Commissioners, for the Western Weber Planning Commission, Jed McCormick, a reappointment, Sarah Wicker, a reappointment. Any questions? This would be, Commissioners, this would be for
Resolution number?
resolution number 36-2024.
Ready for a motion?
I am.
Make a motion to approve resolution 36-2024, reappointing Jed McCormick and Sarah Wickern to the Western Weaver Planning Commission.
And I'll second that.
Great. If there's no comments, I'll entertain a roll call vote by Mr. Brandt.
Roll call vote for resolution 36-2024. Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos,
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Commissioners, item 2 on this agenda is a request for approval of this resolution's 37-2024, the County Commissioners, Weber County appointing members to the Ogden Valley Planning Commission. Mr. Grover, go ahead, please.
We have 2 vacancies on this commission as well. Typically, the end of June is when terms expire, and the names we have for you to consider is Marshall McGonigal, Ben Peterson, David Morby, Bryce Frower, and Joseph Postenbaugh.
Very good. Does that complete your
That does.
presentation on item number 2?
Yep.
Great. Up for discussion, I'll move to you, Commissioner Frower. This is in your portfolio. We'll start with you.
Thank you. I'd be happy to make a motion when you're ready. We've actually talked to not all these, or at least I should say, I have talked to about all these individuals with exception of one, and I'd be happy to make a motion whenever you're ready.
Great. I'd like to hear comments from Commissioner Bolos.
I don't have any comments.
Great. Then I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner
So-
Frower.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve Resolution 37-2024, appointing Mr. David T. Morby and Mr. Bryce M. Frohr to the Weber County Commission, Ogden Valley Planning Commission.
Okay, would you, so I've heard David T. Morby and Bryce M. Frohr to the Planning Commission up there. Commissioner Bolos?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll place that motion for vote unless there's any more discussion.
Nope, none for me.
Go ahead, Mr. Brandt.
Roll call vote for resolution 37-2024. Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos.
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for all those who were willing to give of their time to do that. Item number 3 is a request for resolution 38-2024, the County Commissioners of Weber County appointing members to the Board of Adjustment. Go ahead, Mr. Grover.
So we have 2 vacancies on there, but now we have 3 because we've taken Bryce Frower off of the Board of Adjustments. So there's 3 positions now for you to consider, and we have 3 applicants for you to consider for that board: Marshall McGonigal, Laura Warburton, and Ben Peterson.
Laura Warburton.
For those online, please mute yourselves. Comments were out of order. Very good, thank you. Commissioners, again, Commissioner Bolos, I'll go to you first on this one.
I don't have any comments. We have 3 applicants and 3 openings, so
Commissioner Faur?
No comments?
No comment. I'll entertain a motion for submittal, please.
Motion to approve Resolution 38-2024, appointing Marshall McGonigal, Laura Warburton, and Ben L. Peterson to the Board of Adjustment.
We have the three applicants being approved for 38-2024. If there's no other comment, I'll place that motion for vote.
Did you want a second on that?
I did want a second. Going a little too quick, sorry. Mr. Brandt?
Roll call vote for Resolution 38-2024. Commissioner Faur,
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos.
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Charlie? Item number 4 is a request for approval of Resolution 39-2024 of the County Commissioners of Weber County to amend the Western Weber County Plan's future land map use, redesignate parks and recreation area to medium to large residential related to the Winston Park development. Charlie, go ahead, please.
Commissioner, if it's okay with you, my presentation is very brief and it involves all three of the next items on your agenda.
They do, and you're welcome to go ahead, but we will vote on those independently and individually. Go ahead.
Sounds great. So you guys have seen each of these three items already. You've got resolution to change the general plan. That's to redesignate Parks and Recreation area to large lot or medium to large lot residential. And then there's a contract for a development agreement for the Winston Park development, as well as a rezone for the property that was previously designated as open space. And actually, the rezone is from the A1 zone, not open space zone. It was never changed from A1 before, so it'd be A1 to the R115 zone. You guys have all the details on this. Last time we discussed this, you tabled it, asking the applicant to reconsider its park donation, maybe even reconsider some of the westward connectivity of the property. Spoken with the applicant, and while $7,500 per lot is not their ideal circumstance, they mentioned if there's no other options, they think they'd be okay with it. The development agreement that you have on the agenda tonight says $7,500 per lot. It also has a requirement for a trail connection, a 12-foot wide easement trail connection to the west through Phase 1. So even though this isn't Phase 1 and the development agreement won't apply to Phase 1, in order to get this Phase 2 with the development agreement and the rezone, they'd have to go ahead and acquire that easement through other properties in Phase 1. I believe those are the two things that the commissioners specifically wanted addressed in this, and I think the applicant may want to say a few things about parks donations or other parts of the development agreement. Is there any other questions for me on this item?
Commissioners, I'll go to you first. Any Commissioner Bolos or Commissioner Faur? I'll start with you, Commissioner Bolos.
Nothing at this point.
Nothing at this point. Commissioner Faur, nothing yet? Great. The petitioners, if one spokesman from those of you who are here would like to come and address the commission, you may or you don't have to. Now would be your time. If you'd identify yourself, your name, and then the city where you live.
Wade Rumsey, Idaho Falls,
Great.
Idaho. I think we've been back and forth on this. I think with Charlie, as well as our work sessions, which we found productive in meetings with you. As we explained with the park donation, where we started and where we're at, you know, we certainly prefer the $5,000 per lot, which was something that we worked out with the Parks District. We understand things change. We hope that you would take that into consideration. We feel confident in the work that we've done with Charlie to secure that western pedestrian access. I think that is a good possibility in talking to the landowners now from Phase 1, but we think that we can make that happen. So that's all I have. We just appreciate your time being available to discuss this and hope we can work together in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Rumsey. Okay, Commissioners, I'll go back if there are any more discussion on item number 4. I think, Charlie, before I go to the Commissioners for comments, this is just sequential. Item 4, 5, and 6, as they all relate to the this Winston Park. What are the differences, if you would, just so that we have it on record? Please, if you'd
Perfect.
speak into the mic.
Yeah, item number 1 is the
Item
general...
number 4.
Excuse me, item number 4, one of my items, is the general plan amendment that's changing the park and open space designation in the Winston Park development to medium to large lot residential, which is what the rest of that area is designated as out there. Item number 5 is a development agreement. The development agreement does stipulate a whole host of things that the developer needs to do, as well as some of the things that the county needs to do to make this development come to pass. And that development agreement is dependent on the rezone, and the rezone is dependent on the development agreement, so neither one stands unless the other one is approved. So the last item is a rezone, and that'll change the county zoning map from the A1 zone to the R115 zone.
Okay, Commissioners, we've heard Mr. Ewert's presentation. I'll move to Commissioner Bolos first for comments on the, any 1, 4, 5, or 6 at this time.
I do have one question, Charlie. I asked, and I don't know if you were in the meeting or if it was just with this group in my office, and I asked about outreach to those property owners who owned lots bordering what should have been the park. Were there any contacts made there?
So the applicant did mention that they have discussed with a few, maybe not with all of them, the possibility of this area being developed. The other thing that's, I think, worth noting is the applicant did have a little bit of foresight when they created their CCNRs in their HOA. The CCNRs did declare to each person who was buying into Phase 1 that if the county ever allows them to develop Phase 2, they're going to do that. So everyone was put on notice when they purchased the property. Doesn't mean everybody read that part. But if they did their due diligence, they would have received that notice. But my understanding is the developer right now is working with one of those property owners to potentially buy the property back, reimburse them, and they'll just sell that property to someone else. So there is some work happening in that respect. I don't know if it's been every landowner who borders, though.
Commissioner Bolos, additional comments or questions?
Yeah, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to arrive until all of those property owners have been contacted.
Great. Commissioner Farrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a question, Charlie. Going back to the park donation, how is that going to be worded in the development agreement? Is that up to 75? Because it was my understanding that that's a park district's decision, and I know that these gentlemen had a previous agreement with the park district, and then because of some additional work that was done and because of a timing issue, they were kind of caught in the middle of it. So I guess my question is that up for negotiation with the park district, or how's that worded?
So far, what it sounds to me like, based off of speaking with the Park District folks, is they're eager for the $7,500 per lot. Now that the commission has decided that they would support the $7,500, I think they want to move forward with that. I know the applicant did reach out to the Park District to see if they would re-verify or reaffirm the $5,000 per lot. Park District at that time said if the commissioners are going to support our $7,500 per lot, then we're going to stick with that, is essentially the gist of what they said. So the way the development agreement reads is that they will pay $7,500 per lot or unit.
Okay.
There's one caveat to that. If they build any unit or building, any unit or dwelling under 1,000 square feet, or they deed restrict it for moderate income housing in favor of the housing authority, under those circumstances, they won't have to pay the $7,500 per lot. So kind of our way of trying to incentivize a little bit of moderate income housing or affordable housing in this community, but that's completely at the discretion of the developer and whether or not they choose to do that.
Got it. Okay. That answers my question.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a couple of questions. You talked about trail access going out to the west, but not a road, is that correct?
Not a road, yep. At this time, securing a road sounded like it was going to be really challenging. From a planning perspective, I think making sure there's that pedestrian access, I think that's critical. I'm not as concerned about the road, but if you guys would rather see a road, then we can add it in there.
Well, for me to get a yes on this vote, I'm going to ask for 3 things. One is the neighbors to be satisfied, absolutely. They bought into something before it was a bonus density thing, and that was just going to be open space, and so the neighbors to be satisfied, the $7,500 a lot on every lot, and then road access to the west.
Okay.
not just a trail. So my position hasn't changed. And with that comment, Commissioners, if there's no other comments on 4, 5, or 6, I'll place the first one for vote. Item number 4 is a request for approval of Resolution 39-2024 of the County Commissioners of Weber County to amend the Western Weber General Plan, future land map to redesignate parks, recreation area, and medium to large residential related to the Winston Park development. Is there a motion, one way or another?
I'll move to approve Resolution 39, 2024.
We have a motion to approve 39-2024. I don't hear a motion for a second, then that dies. Item number 5 is a request for approval of a development agreement for the Winston Park development.
Would you like an alternative motion on item 4?
I'm happy to take an alternative to going back to number 4.
I'll make a motion to table the resolution.
Have a motion to table.
Okay, is there a time involved with the tabling? I guess I just need to know kind of what we're waiting.
The requests that have been made, I would say they choose to come back with those changes or address those issues.
Your motion is to table this and if some future date yet uncertain based on the 2 or 3, on which items? You mentioned.
Your list, and one of
On my
mine is
list.
on your list.
So $7,500 a lot, road access to the west, including pedestrian, and then the neighbors are satisfied. Is that a second or no?
Well, no, probably not. I struggle with the road access. I'm okay with the other two, but I struggle with the road access since those lots have been previously sold and conveyed, and it's not up to the developers. It's not their property. So it's a little hard to mandate a taking when they have no control over the dirt. So I could probably live with the other two, but I'm afraid we're just creating a situation that we're not going to give them the opportunity to succeed, where you're asking them to purchase a piece of property that's really not for sale, that's not theirs.
Great.
I understand from previous discussions, they've made some outreach to the owners and haven't been able to consummate a deal, so. Not that they haven't attempted to satisfy that, but they haven't been able to.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well.
So,
They've
that's
been
my,
working on it.
that's my thoughts.
Thank you. I'll second your motion to table. Place that motion for a roll call vote. Item 39-2024.
Roll call vote to table Resolution 39-2024. Commissioner Faur?
No.
Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Chair Harvey?
Aye. Thank you. Item number 5 is a request for approval of a development agreement for the Winston Park subdivision. Is there a motion?
Motion to table.
Until those 3 items are met.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Place that motion for vote. That's not a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 6 is a roll call vote. It's a request for approval of a rezone ordinance 2024-16 of the County Commissioners of Weber County rezoning approximately 40 acres of land, otherwise known as the Winston Park subdivision, located approximately 3667 west and 1800 south, from the A1 agricultural zone to the R115 residential zone. Entertain a motion?
Motion to table ordinance 2024-16.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. I'll place that for roll call vote.
Roll call vote to table ordinance 2024-16. Commissioner Faur?
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Chair Harvey?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Commissioners, we're on item number 8 on our agenda. Commissioner comments.
None for me.
I need to bring up something from the Central Weber Sewer District meeting last night. They are making people aware that they will actually hold a Truth in Taxation on August 19th at 6 p.m. at Central Weber. And just a reminder for those people that may be listening, I think pay attention to the newspaper. There'll be municipalities, there'll be special service districts that will come out, Truth in Taxations. Most of those will happen in the next 60 days. So that's your opportunity again to understand where those taxpayer dollars go prior to you receiving the notice from Weber County. And you have the opportunity, each of those districts, schools, et cetera, to have your voice heard. I'd encourage everybody to do that.
So what was that date again?
August 19th, 6 p.m.
August
That's a
19th?
Monday night.
Out at Central Weber Sewer, which is...
Central Weber Sewer.
Yep.
Do you know if there's a stream? Can people join online and comment?
They can join online, but I don't believe that they'll be able to comment. If they have to comment, they can see the proceedings, but they won't be able to actually make a comment unless they're there in person.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Great. If there's no other comments,
Motion to adjourn.
have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned.